Entrepreneurship can be really hard, and when you're doing it by yourself, trying to navigate the terrain, it can almost be impossible. That's why we created the Entrepreneur Circle. Every episode, you're going to hear from incredible entrepreneurs who are in the same trenches that you are in. And we're going to talk through what's working, what's not working, whether it be in marketing, finance, or anything in between. We're here to talk business and figure out how each of us can rise together. So welcome to the circle. Let's dig in. Welcome back to Entrepreneur Circle. Today's episode is a special one because I have a music mogul here. She is
not a mogul.
An icon. Yeah, just wait till you hear her story, guys. I am here with Bobbii Jacobs. Bobbii is the founder, owner of Backstage Access Presents and Wildflower Entertainment Group. She has been the brains behind a lot of your favorite artists. And I think there is so much that we're going to dig in here. I'm so excited to have you on the show, Bobbii. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. Thank you, Paresa. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, it's a long time coming. Everything it takes a village. I always say that it takes a village. I'm never only one person. There's, thank you for the accolades, but there's a massive, amazing team that's just so fantastic that stands behind me, stands with me, that is a part of everything. So I could not do it without them. I couldn't do it with my business partner. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that speaks to your leadership, recognizing that. I would love for you to give our audience a high level of what you do, because it is very unique in the sense of managing artists, bringing them into the limelight, helping them break, but then also creating experiences for people that are unmatched. So give us a high level. What is Backstage Access Presents?
So Backstage Access Presents is live in-person experiences that are, I was doing experiential before experiential was hip. I was using that term before people used it, and I worked remote when no one worked remote. So
trendsetter.
I wouldn't say trendsetter, maybe ridiculous, just person that just pushed the envelope. But really what was really cool is that with Backstage Access, when I was really trying to think about a name, because coming up with a name for a company in today's world is so hard, and you think and think and think, and you go through thousands and thousands of names. But what I do is Backstage Access. So Backstage Access Presents, that is the name, but then we flip the location, kind of like on the screen or on the on the masthead or on the collateral. And so Backstage Access coming up is Napa Valley, and that is going to be it's my stomping grounds for almost 20 years. And so we are, the bottom line of what it is it is a private music industry showcase layered with sponsors and partners and VIPs that come on in. So really, you're truly getting behind the scenes backstage access to these artist careers that are breaking. And so artists come in across multi-genre. This particular event is country centered with a little bit of AAA and a little bit of Americana and a little bit of songwriters. And so that is the focus of the music. And so the artists coming in, we just have some amazing artists. We always have a couple of headliners, that really kind of anchor the event. But at the end of the day, it's all about breaking artists. People want to be a part of, wow, I saw them win, and so there's definitely a lot of those artists that are going to be really the shining stars of the event coming up.
And this isn't your first rodeo. There's been a lot of things that you have created up to this point. You've been in the industry for 20 years, right?
20 years of doing experiences in Napa and beyond, and then 36 years.
Wow.
It's just really crazy because it's I've had all this experience. 36 years is a long time, and there's just the trials and tribulations of, in your 20s, you're learning, you're growing, you're trying to figure out your way, you're trying to impress people and be in the cool kids club, and then in your 30s, you're finding your way, and in your 40s, you're like, I got this, and then in your 50s, you're like, I'm on the other end. I'm in the second half of my career now. I just want to do amazing things and make an impact, and just as much as you can, just do great things with great people, and just put your put your stakes in the ground. Hopefully they'll to stay there forever. So somebody else then can come along eventually and keep it going.
So have you had any artists that have had their big break as a part of your event?
Yes. Throughout the years, Jason Mraz was was basically the cornerstone of the why, the backdrop. And so I was doing this amazing experience in Napa, wine tasting with a chef experience, like 19 years ago. And there was at that point, there was only 20 master sommeliers in the world. So I did this experience with a chef and a master sommelier, but there was no music. And so I was like, this was the greatest thing I've ever done. Where's the music? And so then I was like, wait a minute. I think there needs to be music. And I called my friend. His name is Mike Easterlin, and we're still friends to this day. And I called him, I go, Mike, Jason Mraz, we're working this project called I'm Yours, the song. And the record was amazing. Like you hear it and you're like, that's an amazing song. And it wasn't a hit yet. It was on its way up. And Mike, I did this experience in Napa and I want to tie in Jason Mraz. Could we do like a flyaway girlfriend getaway on the radio? Because back then there was only radio. There was no anything else. It was only radio. And he's like, well, what? Like, are you drunk? No, I'm in Napa, but I'm not drunk.
Promise.
I'm like, no. And he goes, okay, well, call the manager. So I call the manager. He's like, that sounds great. So then we put together this girlfriend getaway, and all of a sudden it was a bad economy in 2008, and all of a sudden everything came together. And the day he performed at the event, he had a #1 record. But everything was done kind of ass backwards, like like he was the headliner, but he performed first because he had to catch a flight to Japan, and then there was other artists that were there. It was in a ballroom at a resort, at the Silverado Resort. There was like 100, 200 people, 150 people there, but everyone like cried and were emotional, and it was just like it was stripped down acoustic. So everything we do is acoustic, but not because I'm so like, oh, wow, that's so smart. No, we didn't have any money to have production. And we thought it was like, okay, why not? But everything, we just did it for the right reasons. And it worked and it stuck. And then, so Jason was like the anchor, and he's performed a couple of times, since then, and just a brilliant artist. And then we had, Matt Nathanson was on that bill back then. So come on, get higher, swinging my hips. Okay, I love that song. And Matt is hilarious. Matt's a dear friend. And there were 2 other artists on that bill as well. The first bill, Tristan Prettyman and Dave Barnes.
Wow.
And that was 19 years ago, which is wild to even think that. But then throughout the years, back then, there was not country. I was only working in the hot AC pop world. And so then I would do 2 events a year with pop and hot AC music. And so then my friend Leslie Fram, who's to this day like one of my most amazing friends and a huge mentor to me, and believer in women and just phenomenal, and she's great. And so I called her up and I'm like, so I want to do an event with country. She goes, well, I was waiting for you to like call me. Why is it taking you so long? And then lo and behold, she sat at her desk and called all these people. I'm sitting in front of her, and then she typed some emails. She literally cut, paste. Whoosh, all of a sudden, 50 people in the industry were connected to me. And I was sitting in Nashville going, what just happened? Like, and so the difference between LA and New York is you have to drive around all over the place. In LA, everyone's spread out. New York, you don't go, I didn't go to New York that much, for promoting this, just because of just timing and things like that. So lo and behold, I'm literally connected to everyone in Nashville in seriously 15 minutes. And so all of a sudden, people in Nashville call you back and they text you back, and I'm like, what just happened? And Leslie said, welcome to Nashville. She goes, it's one big family. And I went, wow. So I went to, and I did, by the way, this artist didn't break, from the event. When I say her name, you'll know why. And so all of a sudden I go to Universal Records, and I'm sitting there and I'm a nervous wreck, and I have my little PowerPoint presentation that just looks so bad now that I look at it now. I'm like, oh. And so I slid it across the table, and they're like, oh yeah, and these women were in the room, and they're Amanda and Leanna, and they were just so nice. And they asked me these really great questions, and I'm looking at them because they're young. They're a lot younger than me. And in the business, in country, it doesn't matter. Everyone is all the players in the business are young, all the way older than
girl,
me too.
No.
But it's not about a stigma. You know what I mean? It's not about it. Everyone has the equal playing ground. Everyone has a voice. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing. So I talked to the ladies, and they said, this is a really great presentation. And I was like, so excited. And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to give you a list of names. And they said, I'm like, okay. And they gave me this, like, wrote down on the piece of paper, this long list of names. And this one stuck out to me as Carrie Underwood. And I went, did you just put Carrie Underwood on this list? And they're like, yeah. And I go, wait, but Carrie Underwood, like, hello.
The Carrie Underwood?
And she said, no, she has music because the music, it's all about the music that's being released and the priorities of the labels and the focus. And all of a sudden I'm like, so you really, they're like, yeah, we'll have to like go clear the calendar and check out these things, but these are the artists that we really feel would be great. And there's like a list of 20 of them, okay? And Universal is a very massive power. They're called MCA Nashville now, but back then it was Universal Nashville. So I was like, okay, thank you very much. And so I went on to my other meetings and met all these amazing people. And it was phenomenal. And then I was sitting on a rental car bus in Sacramento, and I was waiting. I was sweating. I was like nervous. I was waiting. And then I got the phone call that she's confirmed, or she's almost confirmed. Then the next day they wanted to do a call and get on with management and everything. And I remember I had an office at that time. It was brief, but I had an office for a short amount of time. And I ran around the office screaming to the point where the neighbors were like, what, are you okay? I'm like, oh my God, we just confirmed Carrie Underwood, oh my God. And it was like the coolest thing ever, because Carrie is just like an icon. Yeah. And she's lovely and phenomenal. And it was just the sun, the moon, the stars, wow, all aligned. And so all of a sudden, here we are, like at that time, and there was now country. There was just so many incredible, like, things that happened and relationships that were formed, and everyone was just like family. It felt like I've known these people forever. And now to this day, I'm like one of the only, which is really crazy to think. Someone actually told me this. I didn't come up with this. Someone told me this. In the music industry, there's no more conventions. In the music industry, there is this really awesome thing called CRS, which is Country Radio Seminar. That's the only experience in the entire music industry that still exists as a convention or like a networking type of event where industry comes together and artists showcase and perform. It's different than mine because it's a lot bigger, but that, and then me.
Wow.
And so I'm just like really, like, of course we have CMAs and ACMs and, all the award shows, they're amazing. And they're a whole different level with television, et cetera, but, and streaming. But I was like really excited because for me, like, I'm leaning heavily into being private. I'm leaning heavily into it being a music showcase with all of the players in the room. And what's really exciting about that is it keeps me in the middle of everything all the time. So not only do I have to curate the artists, okay, so go to the labels, go to the managers, all the independent artists reach out, to our team, and people come to me, hey, I've got this great independent artist or this great person, da 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 da. But then it's about really staying relevant. So not only am I relevant with those people, but then I have to bring in the industry players. And so Christy Watkins, who works with us, she ends up working all the press and influencers and podcasters to always have those correct people in the room. And then I curate with the programmers and then the talent bookers and then the DSPs, and to try to stay, on our game, because everything is getting smaller and smaller. So you always have to have the right people in the room to break the artists' careers. And so if you're a little baby artist, you're not going to be played on the radio because you need to be, right, you need to have all that gunpowder behind you. But you need a talent booker, or you need maybe some press, or you really might want to get on, try to get on YouTube, or have the YouTube people sit down with you and educate you on your career and how to use YouTube to your advantage as an artist, or use Meta or Instagram, or, it's really just an interesting kind of twist. And so instead of going in the opposite direction, I'm leaning more heavily into it just because I think everyone needs it. Because for an artist to just go out and find these people on their own, there's no way they would do it. Music supervisors are also a big part of it. Music supervisors, they sync music and television and film. Music supervisors don't care if you have one follower on Instagram or 10,000 or a million. They are looking for the right brief, with the right music sync for that scene in a movie, a TV show, a commercial, etc.
Wow.
I know. It's like Tetris. I always say my life is like Jenga or Tetris. I don't know which is worse, but that's the one it is.
Hey, those are my favorite games.
It's just very, layered, because you can't do one without the other. And so it's like the chicken and the egg game. And so we never have like a lineup, which has always fun and exciting and makes me want to pull my hair out. But I never really have a lineup because we're working off of the current release schedules of the music industry. So it's not like I can plan way in advance and say, and for next year we're going to have, and it's never like that. It's always, well, we think it might be this. But, at the end of the day, though, we've had some really incredible artists like Zach Brown, headlining artists like a Zach Brown or Little Big Town.
I think what you just shared shows how in tune you are with how the music industry has evolved as well. Because just looking at even the last 20 years, 25 years, I mean, going from selling actual CDs and hitting platinum or whatever, right? To now it's all downloads on Spotify and Apple Music. Has that switch impacted your work at all, or is it primarily the artists that are dealing with that?
No, it's affected everything because, it's like if you're an artist, it's just it's so complicated. It's like what's happening now more than ever is independent artists are breaking because they don't need as much, as much to break. They need more of a, I'm going to use Drew Baldridge as an example. Drew Baldridge was I believe he was the first independent artist to go #1 self-paid. He actually used his own money and his, grit and his chutzpah, and his, drive and ambition and all of his success to drive, to pay for the team, to get all the things going. But it's also a little bit, you have to have research to drive, airplay at, country radio. But you have to have the research to back it up, to keep it going. But he did it. And it takes normally, a #1 record, to work, to push a record, release music, put a team together, put the creative together, it's like a machine. It's that guy is amazing. He's an amazing artist and he did it, but he did it. Mm-hmm. He did it very successfully. And there's probably a little bit of, sun, the moon, the stars, a lot of God, a lot of everything combined. But he paved the way, I feel, in my humble opinion. Everyone will have other opinions, but I really think that he paved the way for, in today's current times, for independent artists to have a shot. Not just a shot on radio, but a real shot to feel like they actually can do this.
Right.
Because it's not just about talent. You have to have the whole, just the whole wherewithal, everything.
Well, it's a whole business in itself. It's not just how good your music is. It's your branding. It's your positioning.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then you see artists like Megan Maroney. Wow. How she's positioned herself, how she's marketed herself, her look, talent, of course. And then you have Langley. Just so many incredible artists that are now having that, really that massive, spotlight.
Right.
And they're not independent. They're signed to, labels, but still, it's not easy. You don't just I'm going to release music and it's going to be #1. It doesn't work like that. You just have to work hard and you have to have everything aligned and, you can't, it's just not that simple.
Right. So tell me, as you have been building Backstage Access Presents, and maybe even looking back before that, in your whole journey in this industry, what do you attribute your growth to for your business?
Ooh, that's a great question. The team, the people around me, 100%, because I can't do PowerPoints to save my life. I'm terrible at them. I have them in my head. Right. I'm a creative person. I have everything in my head, but I can tell you how to do it. But for me to go, that'll take me days. I would be it'd be 1990. I would still be back trying to figure it out.
I love that.
But I have incredible people. Sean has been, we've been working together forever. He's the most he's so brilliant. And Sam, they're they can take my crazy thoughts and bring them to life. And And I've got someone, Tiffany, who's just great with like seeing things through, and Christy and Callie, and yeah.
You have a pretty amazing team.
Yeah.
Really...
It's really hard to answer that because it's so many pieces to it. And it's about peers in the business. You know, calling the peers that I believe in, that believe in me, that know what I'm trying to do, and that I can call them up. There's a guy named Jojo who I adore, and I call them all the time. I'm bouncing off of my friend named Mike. I bounce things off of him. I call like people within the supervision sync world, bounce things off of them. Yeah, it's not just one person. It's like a group of people that I trust, that know me, that, you know, that give me that, you know what I mean, just that advice.
Yeah.
Leslie Fram, for sure. For sure.
I'm hearing a big thread through all of this.
Yeah.
You are so good at building relationships. I feel like that whole answer, it's summarized in building relationships. Mm-hmm. So as you know, a lot of our listeners, they're on the journey of building their business and building their personal brand, mm-hmm. whether it be in a similar industry, although I feel like, gosh, I wish I worked in a super cool industry like you, girl.
It's chaos, but that's okay.
Chaos is fun, right? It's better than being bored, I always say.
For sure.
As they're building their businesses, whatever industry it may be, I think relationships is something that is an absolute pillar mm-hmm. in everything that we do in this life. And we've mm-hmm. grown such a strong relationship. I adore you and Steve. You guys are amazing. I would love for you to give some guidance to our audience mm-hmm. on what are the most important things as you go out into these networking mm-hmm. events, into, you know, different meetings, as you're building partnerships, etc. Mm-hmm. What are the fundamentals of building a strong relationship in business?
Well, there's a lot of tentacles to that one. So you never, first of all, never burn a bridge, ever. Try not to burn a bridge. I probably burned a couple, but I preach that. Because it's true. I mean, it's like, I believe, even though there's things that have happened in my career that have not gone the way I wanted, like, you really, really, really have to try always. Like, this is something I always do, is I always can look at myself in the mirror and say I did everything I could. You know, I always. And so it's like I never try to cause trouble. Sometimes I do use the term, I was only trying to help. That's happened a few times in my career, because I always try to sit in the middle of everything and really have the best interest. It's not just for, I always say this, it's not just for me. No. This is not for me and my life and my career and my business. No. It has to be, everyone has to benefit from what I do. And so when I go into record labels and sit down with them, you know, I literally say to them, this is what I'm doing. I have a platform. I would love for you to be a part of this platform. But what's good for you? It can't just be what's good for me. It can never always be what's good for you. So I would definitely say that's one thing. Never burn a bridge, definitely. You never know when you're going to work with somebody. Ever in life, the weirdest things happen. I mean, the weirdest things happen. Like, it just comes all full circle. Even if you don't want it to, it comes full circle. And there's people that I've worked with literally 36 years ago. And there's one person I'm going to call out, Deb. I'm going to call you out. My friend Deb worked 36 years. We started the business together. Wow. And then she actually was, ironically, she rented my apartment from me, or my house from me in LA, and bought my washer and dryer. How funny is that? That was like 30 years ago. Anyway, and so we started off together. She was at one company called Air. I was at another company called Hitmakers. And there was this other woman named Michelle. We all kind of started off at the same time, all of us at different places in our, different locations, places. And then all of a sudden, Michelle's like senior vice president of a record label. Deb was senior vice president of a record label. Deb, due to a downsizing, she now has her own business. And she called me. She's like, I want to work on some projects together. And I'm like, Deb, I don't know what I have. And she's like, no, Bobbii, come on. Like, we have a relationship. Like, let's figure this out. And I was like, okay, all right. Like, and she goes, let me, I know what you do, because she gave me artists for all those years. And so I was like, okay, what about this? And she's like, okay. And literally she came back to me with this whole outline, and she put it all together for me. And she's like, let's do this. And she helped me close some artists for the upcoming event. Wow. Coming up in April. And she called me this morning, actually, and she's like, Bobbii, I'm like, Like, I'll help you. Like, what can I help you? And the thing of it is, I'm like cracking up going, and we laugh about it. We're like, we've known each other for so long. And you just always have an open mind. Always have an open mind to everyone. And you just never know what they're going to say. You never know what they're going to, what they're going to come up with. And it always also, be vulnerable, even though we're not necessarily trained as women to be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. I mean, it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. In your 20s, you don't want to think that, but you really should be vulnerable. But really, though, always be open-minded to what people have to say. Because, I mean, don't be like, this is the way I do it and I have to do it this way. Because that's not the case. Because someone might come up with a great idea that you might not have thought about because you're so close to it. And I have to be open-minded. So be open-minded, be vulnerable, don't burn bridges, always like have the best interest for everyone, and listen. A lot of people say to me, Bobbii, I go into a room and I talk to all these people and I have no idea who I talk to. Really? Because I remember, maybe it's just sometimes people remember, other things. Some people can recall, how guys can recall. We remember when we were 18 years old and we were playing this golf course and I pulled out my 7-iron and I chipped it in for birdie. Well, but they can't remember anyone's name. That's my husband. But the point of it is, though, for me, I can't remember that, but I can remember every single person and whether they have children, married, divorced. Do they like wine? Do they drink Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi? I can remember that.
See, that's huge because I feel like because I have even had those scenarios when I go to a networking event and I'm just like, I'm trying to meet as many people as I can or get as many business cards as I can. And you're not present in a conversation.
But that is what I hate about networking events. They shouldn't be called networking events.
Yeah.
They should be called speed dating.
Totally.
So that way people know when they're going in that you're really not going to have quality. And so for me, one thing I hate going to conventions. I've always hated going to conventions because you're always looking over to talk to the next person and it drives me nuts. I want quality conversations
100%.
Because that's the stuff that's sticky. That's like a word now people use. Mm-hmm. Is it sticky? That's sticky. Quality conversations are sticky. No, seriously.
They are.
And it's funny because I love to have conversations that are deep. I hate surface conversations. It drives me crazy. I want to know what makes people tick. Because if I know what makes people tick, then I can actually come back to that and reference that for the future for success. Mm-hmm. Or to introduce somebody to something else. It doesn't have to be, once again, it's not about my success. I would love to have it be, I would love to, great, A plus B equals, A plus talking to Bobbii equals C equals success. It's not like that. You have to do it for the right reasons and sit in the middle of it, introduce people. That's awesome because then it's going to keep going. And then you can reference that by picking up the phone and calling somebody going, hey, I know you got that deal cut. Can we talk? Or, hey, I need a favor. Or can we work on a project together? Right. People remember. And then if they don't, well, you don't want to be friends with them anyway. Mm-hmm. Or you don't want to work with them anyway.
Amen.
It's true. Oh, there's so many people have made so much money off of our events, that we've done. Mm-hmm. So much. Because deals are cut, business is, done, and that's great. I'm not there to police that. I want that to happen because that's what people remember. Right. That's cool.
That's why they keep coming back.
Exactly.
You're creating the environment to foster these deals and these relationships and shine the light on people who are putting in the work. I think another thing that stands out as you're talking is just the intention behind your work too. Because I think, after you do something for long enough, the intention and the real, it shines through anything that you do. Like what you are truly after and what your heart is about and who you are as a person will illuminate at some point if you're in it for the wrong reasons or you're not doing it with good intentions, etc. It comes out eventually. That stands out so deeply for me with you because you're truly in this to curate an environment where you can help artists grow, you can help labels find their next talent. Mm-hmm. There's so much to be said about the intention behind what you're doing, and it makes for an amazing event. I'm so excited. I am 99% sure that I'm going to Napa.
Oh, no. Say it on record. You're going to be...
I am going to Napa. I'm so excited. This is a huge event that's coming up. I'm very eager to get there and show it to my friend who's joining me as well. So tell us a little bit about the event in Napa. What's it going to be like? Who do you have?
Well, I'm going to just jump back really quick and say, so back to Leslie and Christy and I, we were talking today. And after the event is over, it's over like at 1:00. And then we're doing this women's event. And Leslie has Femco is her company, and she's just an amazing woman. Leslie Fram is her name. And Christy Watkins and I, we were sitting on the phone today going, okay, we want to do an event after the event is over for women. Last year we did it as well, and it was really, really fantastic. But like, what's the purpose? Why are we coming together? What's sticky about it? And so we're going to be doing like wine, women, and song. We're going to be having my friend Angie's going to be coming in. Another friend named Stacy, she's going to be there with a group because she does a lot of women's empowerment. And we're going to make it like a whole women's empowerment conversation. So it's going to be conversation. We're going to have artists perform, female artists perform. We're going to time my book.
Yeah, we are.
Which is exciting. And but it's going to be, but the purpose is to bring people together. Men are welcome. They probably won't want to come, but they're welcome. But really the purpose is to have we're going to come up with topics that we can just discuss, that how we can help the people, different people in the room. There's some girls, and I say girls, young women, okay, the girls to me, because I could be their mother, actually. There's some really amazing people coming in that are industry executives, but they're young, for young by age, but very talented, just unbelievable what they've accomplished, being like 25, 26 years old. And we have them in the room, but they want to know, like they're hungry. They want to be there. They want to like know how are they going to be in the industry for 25 more years plus.
Right.
Or something like that.
That's going to be amazing.
But yeah.
Wow, I cannot wait.
Yeah. So what is Backstage Access going to be? What's the tricks up our sleeve? There's going to be amazing wine, amazing wineries, amazing food, really, really talented artists. I'm very excited about the lineup. There's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of like surprise artists where people don't know who these artists are. And they're going to walk out going, oh my gosh. And those are going to, be, it's always like, there's always a handful that really, really break, break not just at the event, but like people leave going wow, and then 2 years later they're nominated for awards and they're on big tours and and things like that, which is really exciting.
Wow, I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
How can people get invited? Because I know this isn't just a public event. Maybe a future event.
Maybe for the future.
There's a chance. I'll work it.
For the future. Now, wait, I will say there's not everything I do is a private music industry showcase. I do other events that are charitably driven, and those are still the Backstage Access branding and Heartland. We did that this last summer, and it was amazing. We raised $100,000 for the ISU Foundation, which is they fund the suicide hotline for farmers and ranchers in a 5-state region.
Wow.
So we raised $100,000 in 22 minutes. It was unbelievable. It was really amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was very proud of that. But anybody could get a ticket to that.
Okay.
It was in Iowa. If you want to go to Iowa, I love Iowa. I'm from Iowa. So.
I love Iowa. I've been to the Iowa State Fair a few times. They have a butter cow. It's very cool.
Wow.
I know. Have you been there? You're from Iowa.
I know, but I've never seen a butter cow.
You've been to the Iowa State Fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a butter cow. There's butter cow every year.
All right.
I only
Maybe
know
we
this.
should go. We can make a field trip out of it.
Yeah. I'll come to Napa, and then you come with me to the Iowa State Fair.
Okay. You go to Napa, I'll go to Iowa. Okay. That sounds
so
like a
intriguing,
fair trade.
I'm sure, right, Bobbii? Totally. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed with you. Every time I sit down with you, every time I talk to you, I'm just so impressed with what you're doing and what you're building.
Thank you.
Thank you for building this for the world, for the artists, for people in the industry. It sounds like you're making waves, and it's very inspiring.
It takes a village. Mm-hmm. So thank you to the amazing people that are around me that help prop me up and peel me off the ground when I'm ready to have a nervous breakdown. But I'm like, we just need more slots to fill. Oh my gosh, we need to get that one more person. And everyone's like so calm, and I'm like pulling my hair out, like running around, like losing my mind. But no, it's good. It takes a great, amazing team around you.
It does. And I'm grateful for you for sure. So thank you for coming on the show. How can people connect with you and with your company?
Well, it's wildflowerentertainmentgroup.com. And then there is backstageaccesspresents.com. And then on Instagram, it's at Bobbii Jacobs Music. I love, like always, I will help if I have the time and if I can, get on the phone with people. I love Zooming. I'm kind of obsessed with Zoom. When people don't want to Zoom, I'm like, what's wrong? Do you want to hide? And then when people aren't on Zoom and they hide themselves, oh my gosh, it makes me crazy where I'm not hidden. And I'm like, well, what's wrong? Why are you not, why can't I see your face?
Turn your camera on.
It's very weird. But now I'm obsessed with that because that's like your connection. And when you're on the phone and you're pitching, you've got them or you don't by their mannerisms on Zoom, not on a phone call, because now we're obsessed with seeing that, having that connection.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, now you must Zoom and have your camera on when you talk to her.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Bobbii, for coming
Thanks,
on.
Paresa.
Yeah, I appreciate you, and thank you guys for tuning in.
You.
Be sure to tune in for the next episode, and we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Remember this as you go about your day today. The ideas that are on your heart for a reason. Do not ignore them. Tune into them. Tap in, lean in, understand them, and pursue them. If not you, then who? If this episode was helpful to you in any way, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It does wonders for our efforts, and it helps us to continue our mission of inspiring entrepreneurs and giving them the resources and the perspective we all need to take it to the next level. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Paresa Noble, and we'll catch you next time.